Hello everyone, welcome to Box of Bants and welcome to segment A Scrapper's Life. And I'm here with two of the Hoyland brothers, two, not three. I have Eddie, former super featherweight Irish champion and IBF super featherweight international champion, and also Patrick Hyland, or Pajo. Pajo, I have featherweight for Irish title, IBA intercontinental super featherweight, IBF international featherweight, WBF world champion, WC world title challenger, and WBA interim world title
big
challenger.
Show off. Big show off.
And of course you had your brother who was super bantamweight Irish title winner, EU super bantamweight champion and European challenger as well. First of all, lads, we're in the Golden Cobra boxing club, and I know at the moment you're looking for a new home, Eddie.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're out at the end of April out of this unit we're in.
You only bleeding got in it.
Yeah, we're only in it. Yeah, all the work we done, and now with the landlord selling the building, so just looking for a new spot around Tallaght somewhere at least. You know.
Has that been the biggest struggle for you since you've started out?
Yeah, well, so when my dad died in 2015, we closed the gym, and Patrick and Paulie actually had a Hoyland Boxing Academy down at SPG there, and I was running my own gym up in Rathcoole N7, and it was just one night. Pajo just said to me, "Ed, we need the three of us together." It was actually in the Jova, wasn't it? So.
Shout out Job's house.
Yeah, Jova. So what happened then was I had to think about it, and I was like, okay, because I put a couple of years up there in Rathcoole, so I eventually just said, yeah, all right. So the three of us got together. There, what was it, 2018 we were there too? Was it? I can't remember anyhow, but anyhow, what happened was, when the three of us got together, I always had the itch of getting Golden Cobra back again, you know, but like, we kind of didn't want to do it because it was our dad's legacy, you know, but sitting down with Patrick, Paulie, and my uncle Paul, and actually Jozzer, who set up Golden Cobra with me dad, John Farrell, he actually said to me, he said, "Why did you ever close it? It's user gym, you know, like you are the backbone of Golden Cobra." So obviously it was in my head, and we kind of didn't do it for a couple of years, and then 2020, it was the 30-year anniversary of Golden Cobra, and he just said to Patrick, I think I just messaged him and just said, we're bringing back Golden Cobra. And with that I said, it's 30 years and that's it, we're coming back.
Yeah. And
we did. So we got out of SPG because we wanted, if we were bringing it back, we wanted our own place, and we had the place up in Rathcoole, so we went up there and we did that place up there, and then unfortunately that building got sold. So we had to move again. So we were looking around. And the guy messages here and he says, "Oh well, how's Golden Cobra?" So we came down here and thinking we were going to be here forever. Then I think we got 7 or 8 months out of this place, and now we have to look for another place again. You know, so the amount of work we did in it. Yeah. You know, but
because it is I have to say it's a lovely setup. Like it is. So I can imagine how frustrating that is, like, massively. Like, but you say Golden Cobra, I know it was established 1990. Yeah. But both of your background in boxing came back from your great grandfather, wasn't it? He was in the war, involved in the Black Hammer concentration camp.
Yes, that's it. He was
don't tell too many people that.
No, prisoner of war. He was in World War II in Black Hammer. Yeah. So, and I think the reason why he kind of, not that he got a handy in a concentration camp, but I think because there was a boxing there, and he got involved in that and started training them and stuff, you know. So I think that's how, obviously, he survived in the concentration camps. Yeah. You know, because I think
started training his son Tommy then.
Yeah. Well, obviously he came home, and then I think I'm not 100% sure if they set up Dunor Boxing Club, but at the time when he came back from the war, I think that's what drew him to boxing then again. Like, so that's how our family kind of got into it, basically through him. And then he trained his 3 sons. He had 3 sons as well: Tommy, Peter, and James. Yeah. And I think them 3 actually fought for Dunor. And then obviously our dad came along, and he and my Uncle Tommy had sons as well, so they all joined up with Dunor Boxing Club. So we started basically Dunor Boxing Club, and then
in the Liberties.
In the Liberties, yeah. And then he moved out to Tallaght. I think he moved to Faircairn, and some went to Faircairn, some went to Killanarden. So then he set up Sacred Heart Boxing Club with Tommy Hanahan at the time.
Yeah.
Him, my Uncle Tommy and Tommy Hanahan. So then obviously everybody went to Sacred Heart then in the family. So it was Dunor Sacred Heart, and then my dad stopped boxing for 2 years.
Started doing karate.
Yeah, started doing karate. He thought he was Bruce Lee. Started doing Bruce Lee stuff.
Well, that's where he got that Golden Cobra from Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai. That's where he got it from. He got it from Karate Kid, 1984. He got it from Karate Kid. And
that's good.
So he stopped boxing when I think he was 18, and then did the karate for 2 years. Then went back to the boxing in Sacred Heart. Started training there in Sacred Heart, and I think he was there for 11 years, training, coaching there. And the likes of Terry Carlisle and all the old Sacred Heart boys, Mark Dillon and Shane Bertie and Aid Carlisle, he's here with us. Actually, when I was a kid, I was there. Me and Aid would have been the youngest in Sacred Heart back in the time before my dad left in 89 to set up his club with Jozzer and Golden Cobra then, you know. So that's how Golden Cobra came about.
If only he was still around to watch Cobra Kai, he probably would be delighted.
Oh, stop! Yeah.
I know the both of you and your brother Paul had very good amateur careers, and I've heard the story of how he's kind of got into amateur boxing. But he's all turned pro in 2004, but it wasn't like it. I know he's all didn't join with the same manager, promoter, all these kind of things. If I'm right in saying it, kind of.
We did. I was fighting. I went to Australia.
Yeah.
And I fought Billy Dibb over there with Crumlin Boxing Club. And a guy over there, Steve Deller, who I'm still in touch with now, and I kind of helped with Conor Wallace is over there with him now in Australia and doing well. He wanted to turn me pro. And I wasn't even thinking about going pro or anything. I was going like, what? Professional? So I said it coming back, and I did say to him, yeah, I'm going to turn over with you. There was a show then in Dublin that Steve came over and we sat down with my dad and all, and said it was all going. But then there was a show from London then from Jess Harding and Paul Cook, and that they came over then to watch our last amateur show. And my dad used to always put on
the ringside club,
the best of shows. I was fighting. I think it was Dean Murphy at the time, who was like 6 times Irish champion. I was 5 times. Like, you know, it was a great show. We all fought, and then we all boxed brilliant. Now I'm going to Australia, you know, sunny side. I'm over here. But then he came in and he said they watched the three of us, and he said, listen, they want the package three or the kind of nothing, kind of stuff like that, you know. And then I had my mum and dad kind of going, you know, it's only across the water, where this one's halfway around the world. Would you do? So I said, all right, then I'll do it. And then I start being the gimme and driving these fuckers everywhere and fucking stuck doing her. Oh yeah, sorry, I apologise, but so anyways,
and that's when you were living in.
Yeah, that's when we lived
Liverpool.
in
London. No, London. But you've had a few fights around England. But as far as I know, you were like every boxer that stage in the career, you were broke as.
Oh yeah. Nothing.
Like I remember hearing the story of you having to travel up to Liverpool to take a fight purely for money.
Yeah.
And that
was my second fight. I was actually dying sick at the flu and everything I had, and the people that we were staying with, Tommy Field, and we used to live up. We
at the time we were staying with the Uptons.
No, that wasn't that.
Yeah, when you went to Liverpool.
Yeah, no, that was Tommy.
I broke the car.
That was Tommy. Tommy got you the car.
Oh yeah, sorry. He's right. Yeah.
We did. When we moved over to London first, we did stay with the Uptons, and obviously it was kind of like we were staying in their house and they were over here staying in their dad's, because the Upton boys were fighting for my dad as amateurs, you know. And so then obviously stuff happens and you fall out with people. Whatever happened. We fell out. They fell out. So we ended up getting a phone call from. Well, you know, my dad did, from one of the boys. Who was it? The bully, what's his name? what's his name?
Scully,
yeah, Paddy Scully, saying he has a friend over in Hackney, owns a pub. He'll put the boys up if that, because we were training out at Dagenham at the time, which isn't too far from Hackney. So we went over. It was great, deadly people, lovely bunch of people, and old Tommy, he was like a big daddy to us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was just
funny.
So nice.
Like I drove over with Paulie in my car, and I pulled up outside the pub. We were told to go in to the railway tavern.
Yeah.
So I walked into the front and George, and it's full of Jamaicans in the front of it. And I walked in, I was like just, looking around. He come over to me and George goes, "What you want, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for Tommy." He goes, "No Tommy here, boy." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Shit myself. And I was like, so I walked back outside, and then some guy, "All right, mate, yeah, what are you looking for?" And I was like, "Just what the fuck is going on here?" The fella comes over to me, and Paulie started like kind of bricking it. He was always a nervous little shit. Like I was like, "Stand there." If anyone starts for swinging digs, like start there, and then another fella goes, and pushes him. "Yeah, leave them alone. All the others drink down in the pub down there." I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" So I made the call then, and Tommy's, "No, I'm in the pub, in the railway." So I went into the railway, and George, the big fella there told me, he goes, "No, come in around the side, little back bar, around the back, all the little old Irish men sitting in the corner." I was like, "Thank God for that." But I swear that was a good.
It was great, great spot for us to stay in, like, and then obviously like that we were like trying to get fights, and the two boys had fights, and they were getting regular fights, and I wasn't getting anything, and then I was like, I got on to I was on to Jess one day, and I says, "Listen, like, we need to be fighting, like, cause, like, we need money." So he goes, "Right, I'll get you a fight," and because it was mainly for me, because the two boys had a fought already. I hadn't got a fight; I was still waiting. "All right, yeah, get me a fight." So he got me a fight, and I think it was in I don't know if it was in Manchester or somewhere. I don't know where it was, but it was Buster Dennis. He got me to fight. Boy, Jesus. He was like a bleeding silverback gorilla, wasn't he? He was a monster. And I was like, he's not a super featherweight. Like, no way is that.
It was a good welcome to the program.
4 rounds I did with him, and I was, Jesus. All my ability came out in that night, like, for the win. Like, that was it. If you're gonna be a pro boxer, there you go. And if you can't handle that, then good luck to you. It was, So that was grand. So. Same thing again then, it was kind of went stale for us, the two boys were, fighting again and stale again, and I went on and kind of giving out again that I wasn't getting a fight. So he goes, "Right, we'll fight for you in 2 weeks down in Liverpool against Stephen," I can't think of his second name, but I said, "All right, yeah, fine, grand," but the 2 weeks, and I get sick, really bad sick, and I was kind of training through it, and the boys were like, "You don't fight, you don't want to fight." Even the Tommy, the fella we were staying with, he was like, "Edward, we don't want you fighting, like, don't want you fighting." I says, "I have to fight. If you don't fight, we don't get money." So anyhow, we ended up fighting. Me, Paddy got a car, Tommy gave him a car, and we were all driving down. Car broke down the motorway. Had to get a phone call. Me and Paul Cook had to get picked up from where we were broke down to the train station down. All the while, like, this was the day of the fight, so I didn't. I was obviously starving myself to make the way, because I was told to make the way down there. So down there and make the way. So I didn't see the guy on the scales or nothing like that, So I was in bits. First, I had a good first round with him. So that's all I probably had, like, And then I was told that it's I thought it was a 4-round fight, but it wasn't. It was changed to 6, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was dying. Like, and the boys in the corner, they were like, "Where are you going? You're letting the team down. You're letting the camp down." And it was like all that kept running through my head was like, I wasn't getting hurt, but in my head it was like, I'm gonna get knocked out if we don't do something here. So at the 4th round, I just said, "Listen, lads, I can't go back out. I'm done. I'm spent." Like, I wasn't going to get myself knocked out when I knew I wasn't ready for the fight in the first place, Like, $2,000 at the time it was a lot of money for us because we didn't have anything, but I wasn't getting severely hurt for $2,000, and I just said, "I'm out of here." And that was it, like,
Yeah.
But like that, then the boys, they all went back to to London, and I had to stay in Liverpool because I used to go over every second weekend to see my son Lee, you know. So and it was just left in Liverpool on my own, like, going, what's going on? Like, and obviously no, the boys couldn't get down for support or anything like that. My dad was supposed to get over with a few of them, but at the time I was supposed to fight the week before, and they were all coming over, but it got pushed back to the following week, and he had a boxing show on there, so it was just one of those things.
Yeah,
but like that, we didn't dwell on anything. We just went forward from there. Like,
yeah, you know. Your dad brought you basically back home. That's essentially what happened. He kind of took control of your careers. He bought you your contracts, and in that time, you went on to have 8 shows where all 3 were on the same night. 5 in the basketball stadium, 5 in the National Stadium, 1 in the basketball, 1 City West, and 1 in the Resorts Hotel in Atlantic City. How did that come about? Just your dad just basically.
Well, yeah, he I think he noticed that we weren't getting the fights over in England, and I think he just wanted to have a go of it himself. Now, the man didn't have much money at the time, anyways, and he made himself broke again, selling his cars, getting everything just to
remortgage the house
to get us fights, like to you know, to see us do well, to get us up the ladder. But he put on, they were fantastic shows he put on. Like, he had some fighters on it as well. And that's what he done. So, and then that came apart. I know he kept winning as well. Then Brian Peters came to sign me up as a management. He had a Golden Cobra management as well. There was a few, you know, people in the background there. And then I signed up with Brian Peters, and the boys then went on, kept
you see, by the time you signed with Brian, we were still fighting, but at the time, it was nearly 2010 then it was, wasn't it? Well, after our IBF titles it was, so that was 2008-9, but I was getting married in 2010, and, you know, we 2 kids, and I didn't really want to, you know, be leaving them all the time. Like, the sacrifices we made for our family was unreal, like, you know. But I was getting married, and then I took time out, put on loads of weight, and I didn't want to go. I was retiring then, you know, but then my dad kind of draw me back into it for, he's like, the last show I'm having with the 3 of you on it before Pajo goes to America. I want you fighting on it. So I was like, alright then, you know. And then alright then, you know.
So the first time you fought together was the 4th of June 2005. That was National Stadium. Both you had 4 rounders, but Paul had a 6 rounder, and that kind of started off the whole.
I didn't fight Peter Buckley then, did I?
No, was it? Oh no, you fought him in City West. You not your first fight? No. Could have been then.
I think I fought Peter Buckley that shot, because I remember him at his coach. I missed with a shot, and I tried to, you know, slipped outside with an uppercut, and I missed.
Well, I can find it for you right now.
And
he's did his homework. You probably know more about us than we do, Kira.
His coach, I think it was Nobby something anyways, and he shouts at me, "Watch them lights up there, Hoyland." I just started laughing in the ring. But even though, because it was a late opponent, Buckley just flew over, and he was like, I weighed in, I think, 9 stone 2, and he was like 10-7 or something.
It was,
Was it? 10-7, and then they were telling me all the fellas he fought, and I was like, what? Like, what was that? And then my 4th fight, or
it was your 3rd fight?
How did I fight?
And
did you fight?
It was,
I didn't think the names were that important, but I looked them up.
No, don't worry.
Well, Buckley is an important name, you know.
He mentioned you in his book, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, he said it was one of the best prospects.
Mine's a Ferdinand, it was, I think.
You blew him away in a round, did you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That was Stefan Berza. That was your 2nd fight. You stopped him in the 1st round.
With the jab.
You'd busted Dennis your 1st fight, and then you had Stefan.
Was it him?
Yeah. That's what BoxRec says.
No.
Yeah, BoxRec says right, Eddie. Come on. No. Jesus.
And who was the 3rd one then?
3rd one was Peter Batora. That was National Stadium.
Yeah, that was Peter. That was. He was. Yeah.
Would you give over? Yeah. Doesn't lie. It's on black and white, man.
Stephen what?
Christ.
Stefan Berza.
Yeah. Can't even say his name.
He was 2-24, 132 pounds. Yeah. Anyway,
move on. It wasn't. Move on.
And then after that, then so you had about 3 shows
Yeah.
together after that, and then
The Irish title shows.
you two lads then fought for the Irish title. So you fought Kevin O'Hara for the Irish title. That was 10 rounds, and Kevin actually had a 13-3 record at the time. Like, you went to full 10 rounds. What's your memory of that fight and that night?
Yeah, obviously it was a great night. Great night for us for winning. Like myself and Patrick, but. You know, like me and Kevin had history even in the amateurs. We fought in the under-21s, you know, and we were around like fighting for Ireland or for the country, like on the same team, like really good friends with Kevin, you know. And then there was a lot of they were trying to get us to get at each other, you know, but we were just too respectful for each other. We just couldn't do it. Like even we had a press conference down here, then we had one up in Belfast, and even the boys in Belfast were trying to get us to go, and we were just like
laughing at each other.
Yeah, it was just like, listen, whoever wins. It's not going to be any hard feelings, but it was a great fight. Great fight. Like, listen, it could have went either way, you know. And we would have. If we had lost that fight, it wouldn't have bothered me because it was like the two of us went out on a shield basically in that fight. So the same as Kevin. Kevin always said, like, even like I'm still good friends with him. He was always like, "Oh, we should have had a rematch, you know. We should have." And says, "Yeah, but we wouldn't have made 59 kilos, like, just too laughing, you know, because it was true." But yeah, no, it was a great night for us, you know. I had like my wife now, Julie. I had her there, and my son Lee, you know, and obviously she was pregnant on our other son Matthew, you know. But it was great.
Yeah.
Great.
And Pajo, you fought Paul Griffin. You had a shorter night than Eddie that night. You 3 rounds.
I made hard work of it.
And he was 24-3 at the time.
Yeah, he was. I think I was only 9 or 10-0. And I remember going down. I sparred with him down in Crumlin, and I'm not gonna lie, he slapped the head of me. Yeah, and I was snapping because I was like, I need to get back down and spar him. Like, slapped the head on me. He was so fast. So then my dad said, you're fighting Paul Griffin for the Irish title. I was kind of like, what the fuck? You know, I was kind of up for it now, but I was kind of like, this fella's going to punch the head on me. Like, I used to see myself like, not as quick as movement and stuff like as the brothers or even Griffin. Yeah. And I was like, so training camp was going great and all. And my dad used to know how to get me. He used to know how to wind me up.
Oh, it was great. It was great. He had us on him as well. It was like I'm trying to get ready for my fight, but in the background, my dad's like, ringing me. Yeah, get the paper. There's something in the paper. Paul Griffin's at the saying something about Pajo.
So I remember,
we're
sitting down at Pat Ryan's house. We're sitting in Pat Ryan's house because that's where we were doing our training camp down in Port Leash with Pat Ryan. And Pat Ryan comes in with the paper and he throws it at him. He goes, "Here, have a read of that." So it was 3 pages spread, like saying, what he was going to do to me and all. Like, I was like, what? I was like, this the Independent? That's a big paper, like. I'm going to fucking batter him. And I says, I'm just going to drain him into a fight and all. And I just was well up for it then. Yeah. I says, and then when I was like that and he came at me and I was like, oh, I'm loving this now. I'm loving him. He brought straight into me. Now, I had a great first round. He had a good second round. Yeah. I was kind of like, he's getting back into it now. He caught me with a few good shots. And then it's kind of got a bit loose. Both of us were kind of a bit wild in the third. But I knew he was hitting me. And when he was hitting me, I was going, yeah. And I could see it in his face, like, he's smacking shots off me. He caught me with one good body shot. Just as the referee said break, he swung a hook right into me. And, caught me nice. And I was like, that, you silly fucker, you. And looked at him in the eyes and I could see him. And I was like, oh, have him now. But he swung a few digs. I leaned back like that and caught him, bang, bang. But I 1-2, he went down. I was like, please stay down. He got up and I was like, jeez. But credit to him, like, after I knocked him down with that shot, I hit him harder and flush when he was trading with me and his head was gone. And I was like, for him to stand up, like, and then he got into the ropes. And I was like, I was good at finishing. I was like non-stop until I'm dead. Like, I was like, bang, 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 fell. And then Emil called it off. And I was like, I was like that. Yes, Eddie, 2 champs.
But even like that, like it's like, yeah, we had won the Irish titles, 2 brothers winning the Irish titles. But yeah, we were still all our celebrations. We still were running over to see how Paul was, because like obviously Paul is a bloody treasure in Irish boxing, like, you know, like, like good, another, same again, good friends, you know, all good friends, like, and it's just, what happens is when
close to home as well.
Yeah, like, he's a third cousin, like, so, but what happens is, like,
you can see it on the video as well, we're not going to celebrating, and then my dad and Pat like go over to him now. So I ran over like and seen if he was alright.
It's just
he's looking at me like, you
it's like anything, like we can be friends here, but the minute you get in the ring and you put the gloves on, it's the friendship is just out of it. But then when it's over, you're back to friends again. Well, that's the way we are anyway.
Very Irish, I suppose, especially back then. And I know I'm saying back then as if it's fucking 40 years ago, but like even the circle was very much in Dublin. Because your dad was running all the shows, and you can see so many people in the card were based in Dublin, and everyone knew each other. So I think that's very, very much a generational thing as well. I think.
But he tried to get. I think my dad. He tried to get every fighter in Ireland on his shows. Like
he said that. He said that. I was watching a press conference today, and he said that when he was announcing your WBF world title, and he says, "I'm in this game, and I got back into this game for my 3 sons."
Yeah.
But I will help any Irish fighter that wants to step on board and
like that's what he did. Like, and you see promoters nowadays, and they won't just gel with it. Like my dad worked with everybody. He worked with Pascal. He worked with Phil Sutcliffe. He worked with Gary Hoyland. He worked with them all. Like, you know, even the lads in Belfast, Ali O. Wilson, the lot. You know, even if he was getting, you know, ripped off or whatever, he still my dad was for the fighters, and that was it. He wasn't there to make money. Now he didn't make money because, as we said, he was comfortable until he got us into boxing then as pros, like, you know, having to sell cars and remortgaging the house, and my ma going mad at him, like, you know. He was just like, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it for me boys? Like, you know, he was mainly for us 3, but he would see potential in other boxers, and he liked them. And if he liked you, he would be on his shows. And even if he didn't like you and you thought you were brutal, he'd still give you that chance. Like, you know, it's the way he worked, I suppose.
Yeah. Your brother Paul then 3 months later beat Mark Callan for the Irish title. He made the 10 rounds, 1930.
That was in
Mark
the basketball arena, wasn't it?
No, that was over in UCD, I think it was, when Darren Sunderland had his first. Was it Darren for Sunderland?
Check.
It could have been. I know Paulie fought on that. I don't know if it was for his.
Whose knowledge is deeper than the other?
I think he boxed Eugene Hegney on
Hegney, yeah. It could have been.
Mark Allen, he fought him in the National Basketball Arena.
Oh, well done, Padge. Don't ask me anything. I don't know.
We should have.
Oh yeah, when we fought.
We could challenge. We should have had bets going before this.
Yeah, we'd always lose.
And then. The next title then after that was that black belt, Pajo, for you. You won the IBA super featherweight intercontinental.
Hard head
10
from Nicaragua.
10 rounds in Dorchester.
Dorchester.
Yeah, Dorchester. Yeah.
That was a show we were supposed to fight on as well. I got sick.
Yeah.
Sick that fight.
But then, literally straight after that, then you had the night where both you fought for the IBF international. I don't know, I think maybe your dad had something against Paul at the time, because both times you fought for the belts, Paul wasn't fighting for a belt. Or not on the show, you know. So Pajo, so that was Basketball Arena, that was 25th of July 2009. And Pajo, you fought Abdul Tabazalba.
Yeah.
That went the full 12 rounds, and you won on points. Quite comfortably on points.
Handy night.
They must be great memories.
Not for me. Not like mine.
That was fight of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got fight of the year 2009. Yeah,
but that must be like you fought Oshie and Fagan, obviously.
Yeah.
And you won. But
the one was because when we fought for the titles on the same night for the Irish title and that title, Eddie fought first for the Irish title, and then I fought first for the super featherweight. It was an all Dublin then clash for him and things, so it was great. I got to sit back and watch it, have a beer. And watch Eddie get
you know, Jesus Christ.
It was a great fight.
Was that the night you all sang Stand By Me?
No, that was actually the night he won. No, we did sing. We used to always sing them. Yeah, we did sing.
No, sorry, no, I'm thinking of WBF one. Sorry,
WBF one in the job.
Yeah, that's anyone looking at look at Stephen Sharp's green jab. That video's still up there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the one I was miming it. I don't sing them.
Really doing that with his thank you.
I had a hay fever. I used to have bad hay fever.
Now you can't shoot him up singing. Stop.
So then Paul fought for the EU belt. He's first Irish fighter to actually win in Italy, in Napoli, against David Cianella. He won a 12-round decision, and then obviously fought the big fight against Willie Casey in Limerick. In the foot, he got stopped in the 4th round. But one thing I want to just ask is about that fight, because obviously Paul's not here, but obviously he went over to basically to the Dragon's Den. He walked in, he was getting mad boos. It was on TV, and it was a very good fight up until the point it kind of seemed like Willie just started to really get into the stride in the 4th round. But Paul actually won first round, second round.
I was ringside at it and watching it, and now he fought Willie's fight. Like Paulie's an extremely talented boxer, but he went out and tried to mix fire with fire, and shouting at him, telling him, get on your toes, don't be, what are you doing? Like, the man can punch, like the man can wallop.
What happened with Paulie
he goes straight in.
The interview he had on TV3, remember that interview he had before the fight? Johnny Knoxville was on it as well. Obviously Willie got into Paulie's head, and we were coming home in the taxi on the way home, and I said to him, I said, Paulie, on paper this is the easiest European title for you to win. I says, all you have to do is hit and move and just stay away from Willie. I says, but you're not going to do that, are you? No. I says, well, if you don't do that, you're in Egypt. I said, if you go in to try trade with that man, he's not called Big Bang for no reason. Yeah, we'll see. And then we did see.
Yeah.
It was a cracking 4 rounds. Like, it was flat out non-stop. Like he wobbled Willie a few times, and just Willie a stronger man at the time.
And I think it wasn't that if it had went a little bit longer, Willie would have blew out of steam, because Willie was breathing heavy as the rounds were going on, because he was putting so. Obviously, he wanted to kill Paulie, and rightly so. But it's Paulie. It's the way I don't know what way his brain works. It's like it's a different. We're 3 brothers, but we're all 3 different. I'll fight you all night long, getting the head thumped on me and going, oh yeah, Ed, move your head a bit, and same Pajo would be fight. But Paulie is he'd be more of a technician, he'll hit you and kill you with shots and try not to get hit.
You can see the way his stance was. He was very much his jab came from the bottom, and he very disguised his jab.
He mimicked himself off Floyd Mayweather. He loved Floyd Mayweather.
Your guard was high.
Mine was just that.
Yeah, like you would stand a little bit more taller, whereas Paul was one that it was here, and his jab came from. It was more deceitful, like David Hay or something. His jab came from the bottom. Like
Paulie on his day could have beat anyone.
The commentary said that they were like, I don't understand why Paul isn't boxing him. They were saying that through the fight.
He probably still to this day he doesn't understand why he done what he done. But again, it's the build up. It's the build up.
Of course,
it's the atmosphere. It changes everything. Like the atmosphere changes everything. Like of course he probably wanted to, try put him in his place. I'll show him I can punch, I can bang, I can do this. But he could do all that. But it's again, he's a different type of fighter. Where that's Willie's game. Willie sit on you on the ropes. He'll fight and hit you all day. Where Paulie'd want to be hitting and moving, where he wasn't. He was hitting and then standing and trading with him. And again, the bigger puncher would come out on top on that.
And when you think of that night, it's very of that generation back then at that time when fights were on.
That was great.
When they were on RT, and that was as stereotypical as you get. You had Phil Sutcliffe in one corner, you had your dad in the other corner, you had the hunky dories all over the canvas, and obviously Willie Casey fighting and RTE the show like
in Limerick.
Johnny Stapleton biting his fingernails in the sideline, you know. that must have been a great time, like, you know. It must have been.
The shows are great. I even remember before I signed with Brian Peters and I fought on the undercard. It was actually the first fight. Me now wife Lorna went there with me, and I was fighting in the Pointier at the time, and he put me on. It was a European title, Bernard.
That was
and
funny.
It was they put me on just before it. And it was great. I sparked. It was one of the best punches I ever hit someone in my life, and I punched him out. And at the time, the Soccer AM chant "Easy" was going, you know. So, and I smacked him, bang, and your man didn't get up, and the whole crowd just start going easy. So I just started going easy, easy. And then one of the fellas was looking at me and goes, "You shut up!" And he's looking at me like, "What did I do?" I just went with it like it was unbelievable. Like, them shows, like you think.
But it was great as well, because obviously back then my dad he knew all the security men as well. So Patrick going out, he had all the the security around and making a big fuss from going out, and everybody's going, "Who was this fella?
Shit?
Who's he?" You know,
that's the same
thing. Jacket over his head.
Everything.
Then Brian had as well. I think I think Paulie fought in the DCU with.
Paulie fought a few, I only fought on one of Brian's shows, and it was Bernard Dunn's, or one of Bernard Dunn's fight. Can't think of who else was on it, but
he also done Macklin in the stadium, and John Duddy back in the stadium as well, and RTE. You know, it's just again stuff happens, and it just died off. You know,
that's it.
You had a few fights obviously after that, and then came the last time you fought in Ireland together. So your dad basically had a press conference in Dublin, announcing that you were going to fight for WF against Philip Frenois. And it was just very words at the very start that you had the three lads are back on. Eddie Hoyland, by looking at him, he says he will not be fighting at super featherweight. And everyone just kept asking you, like you were like, just found McDonald's, and that seemed to be a big topic.
Eddie Rockets,
chicken wings.
That's what it was.
Used to have it straight after a weigh-in and all. I'm like, what are you doing? I need them.
My whole routine after the weigh-in was my wife Julie. She'd have a BLT sandwich, a bottle of Coke, and a Snickers. Straight after the weigh-in, and then I would stay around to see what was happening, who was going where. Then we'd go to Eddie Rockets, have me classic burger and me chicken wings, then a curry that night.
It's like when you look at it now, a boxer eating that stuff. Like Joe Clifford took us on
for this fight that we're talking about. It was so
now he put us on a strict food. Like I never ate tuna before, and this now in a sense, when you're saying like everything that he gave us was good, was great for us. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's probably more food than what you were used to.
Yeah, it was. We'd eat more food during the day and snacks and all, but it was small portions. But the way he done it and stuff like that, and candy else. No, he was with us 24/7 nearly. We're staying at his mum's house.
He probably nearly needed it, wouldn't he?
Yeah. And then
you were doing in a camp down there for 2 weeks, but I was back up here because I was getting Jay Abbey was training me, because I was 95 kilos I was, and I damaged my hand because some guy tried to break into my house, and we ended up snapping him and fractured my hand, so I couldn't do anything. And you'll see it in the videos of the training. Like the boys are doing all the TRXs, and I couldn't do anything. So I was training with Jay Abbey up in City West, and then it came near a week before the fight. I was like, I have to go down to Joe's then, and we were down there for that week. But it was so funny. Like Joey was getting us to drink. He's like, right, Pajo, after the weigh-in, this is your bottle. Paulie, that's your bottle. Eddie, this is your bottle. And I goes, what's this, Joe? It's like the Oral Lights, like, and it's like, What's you want me to do with that? So straight after you just drink that, and then you have 2 hours after we'll have our chicken and our rice. And I went, Joe, we're not gonna drink that. Ed, you have to. Okay, Joe. And he's going, Eddie, what are you doing? I said, Joe, I'm doing this too long to become back. It'll be different. I can't do it.
For the camp, like
so
I was in serious. I was in great shape. I was in great shape, great condition. He got with the food and all. And it was kind of, we had a cheat day, which was a Thursday, and mine was a can of Coke and a Snickers. And it was thing like that. And again, then after it, and even the day of the weigh-in, after the weigh-in, I done everything what Joe wanted me to do and stuff like that. But I snuck off and got a bottle of Coke, because I wanted that sugar buzz again. And he kind of caught me down. He's like,
"You actually went back down to the house?"
Yeah, I went back down. I stayed down in his house. I didn't go anywhere. I just went
I think I've heard the
down.
one.
He's looking at me like that, and I was drinking the Coke, and I kind of gave. It was like my dad. I was like, "Oh, what's the trouble here?" And he looks at me and he goes, "What are you at to doing?" And I goes, "What?" He goes, "Everything we've done, you're on the ruining it." I was like, "No, Joe, it was only a little sup." And he's like, "No, Patrick," and he's like, "Joe," I said, "Stop, Joe, I'll drink a whole lot of you if you keep annoying me now." And he's looking at me, he's like, "Don't," and I was like, "I'll do it." And I just started drinking a bit, and he's looking at me, he's like, and I goes, "Like, that's enough now." And so we went on, and 12 rounds, and I could have done another bleeding 8 rounds after. The condition and shape he had me in was unreal. Like, we were living down these moms. No one around us. It was great.
Even that like my fight that night, so my dad was like, "Oh, because you're at the putting on a load of weight now." This guy that we're at again, he seems good on cards. We've seen him. He's a good, like he throws a good left hook and blah blah blah. Just take your time when you go in. Like, it's only 4 rounds, but take your time because we don't know what way you're going to be. So, alright, so close to the first 2 rounds or something. I go back to the corner and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" "What do you mean?" He says, "Stop messing in there and kill him. Of a word to it, they go home or go train for him." I'm like, "You told me to relax." No, so then that was it. Then I ended up stopping him then at the 3rd round, and he didn't even wait. He was just gone, like just straight over to him. Like, it was so funny.
That was a great night.
Yeah.
It was a great night.
Why do you think you had that relationship with your food in comparison to the other lads? Like, no, just like your food, like
I loved me food. I always did. Like,
because you always wonder with 3 brothers, like, and all boxers, like you always wonder why someone has different tendencies to others, but I suppose you're all different people, like
We are like I probably nearly the whole time always made the weight the easiest because I went really strict, like the food and watching and then reading.
You never really went too.
No, I never.
Much. I went like nearly 20 kilos heavier
not till,
than I was.
Until the end of my career, like when I started getting a bit older, like but I'd be looking at him and I'm giving out to him and all, you know, like we were down on Pat's and all having. I said, like, "You're eating." I said, "You haven't bleeding 10 cookies with a bleeding cup of tea, like." I said, "What are you doing?" And then he'd be drinking water. I said, "What are you drinking all that water for?" And he's like, "What?" Because I'd be drinking and spitting and like eating ice and be doing everything right. Like, I'm like, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, you're going to kill yourself tomorrow and all." "Shrub you, I'll do it myself." But I tell you what, he always made weight. Like, I'd be looking at him, and then the next day, like even going back to that when we went to do Satanta, after when he weighed in for that fight with Rushing Fagan, I didn't know how he fought 12 rounds.
I got cramps all over me body.
I remember that.
I had to carry him back down the stairs. And we're doing the interview, and he starts talking.
I remember that interview. You were literally foaming in your mouth.
He was. Now he's had to having loads of water and all before, right? And he's like that. And I goes like that. I tapped him and said, "Stop talking, shut up." And he's like, "What?" He sound like I'm telling you, he sounded like he was on crack. Like he was. I'm like, "Stop, will you? Shut up. I'll take it from here." Yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be a great fight. Yeah. That's the interview, and then he goes down. His legs cramp. Carry him down the stairs and all. I'm like, "Gee, you'll find tomorrow. I'll be grand." I'm telling me, Dad's like looking at him, and I said, "You didn't see him going down them stairs? No. Are you alright?" "I'll be grand." And he was. He went 12 rounds, like 12 hard rounds.
They thought actually the
press 12 handy rounds, like
at the weigh-in. Obviously, I didn't make the weigh. I had to go off for the 2 hours, and Joe was actually training Oisin as well at the time, and I wasn't there. It was at the talk after the press conference, and my mates were there. Obviously my mate is he's followed us for years, but and the other boys that used to train with us, and they were like, "Sure, it'll be a handy night tomorrow." Like Eddie didn't even make the weight, and the boys was like, "Yeah, but wait till you see him tomorrow. Like, it's a different story." Like, they obviously thought I wasn't going to be the way I was going to be. Like, they obviously thought that I wasn't going to last
the way
I lasted.
Yeah.
It's
It's
what you do. You just get used to doing it and you just do it. It's crazy.
Could
have been so much easier though. So much easier.
Yeah. But that's what people say about Ricky Hatton, isn't it? It's like, could he fall for longer if he changed the way he was? Yeah, he could have. But would have you had the same career if he had have, like, you know?
Well, like that, like as an amateur, I used to fight at 60 kilos.
Yeah.
You know, and then we turned professional, and then I was making it kind of handy at the start because I was still young at the time. And then my dad was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna fight at super feather," and I'm like, "I've never made 59 kilos. You'd be grand, sure, you're nearly that now." And then that was it. Like throughout my career, like it was just like, yeah, you can make that. And even when I came back, he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll fight over in Atlantic City, and I'll put you down for 67 kilos." It was nearly 80 when he said, and I'm like, "What? Why are you not doing that?" And then I couldn't train with my legs. My legs were in bits anyhow.
Yeah.
You know? It's just gas.
The WF title, like that was really your dad entity. Like, you had the big press conference. Like, you just don't really see that anymore.
No.
Like, Katie Taylor's fighting the biggest fight of his career, and she didn't even have one in Dublin. Like, you know, and he had everyone there. The big, massive. It must have been 3 or 4 tables together. Like,
it was. And it was in the metro. It was in
there was yourself. There was Spike, Pascal Collins, yourself, Paul.
Robbie
and
Long.
you know, your dad really building up this, like, you know, WF, because obviously WF wasn't as recognised as it probably is now, but he was really kind of almost like Ricky Hatton with the WU, really kind of saying, you know, we can defend this title, and it was just great, like the way, you know, he was building it and selling it, and
he was a good talker.
and that was lovely to see, and getting these all back on the same card. But that was the last time you fought together. The Philip Frenmore fight, what do you remember from that night? That fight in general?
12 rounds, 12 kind of handy rounds. He was kind of playing the peekaboo. It was very hard to get in at him, and you know, was trying to draw him out. But he was a clever boxer.
I think it was one of your more like you boxed.
I boxed well in that one. I didn't try mix in or anything, like, so I boxed well in that fight.
He was a southpaw as well.
No, orthodox, but played that peekaboo. Yeah. You know, very hard, and when he was jabbing, he'd be holding up, and then when I'd finish, he'd catch me with a jab, and I was kind of, you know, had me thinking a lot of ways to getting in, and I was trying to break these arms and into the side of his ribs and all. But again, I thought it was a handy 12 rounds, like.
Yeah. And then the last time you all fought together, and this was actually your last fight and Paul's last fight. It was in Atlantic City in the Resorts Hotel and Casino. This was kind of you starting to break out in America. Paul won the 6th rounder, and you won your fight, but you lost the 4 round at the time. Like, was it just the weight was killing you at that stage, and were you kind of done with boxing? Or?
So what was wrong with me after my Irish title? I started getting pains in my legs. We didn't know what it was.
That's the compartment
syndrome. Well, we know now that
restricting the blood flow to your muscle fibers. So we were like, throughout my whole career, I was obviously in pain and taunting because I'm putting on weight and I'm losing. They say, you're starving yourself with the oxygen and stuff. Little did we know it was a lot more serious than that. So as I said, in 2010, I'm retired now, and my dad asked me back to do the WBF show in the last one in the stadium with us, and then that was it. Then I'm finished now. Then I was like, no, do you want you to fight over in Atlantic City? It's previous to fight in Atlantic City. And I'm like, what? So I can't travel. Like, the plane, like, killed me over there, like, going over, because just couldn't do it. And then the travelling to the gym when we were over in where were we training that time? In Kingston, yeah. You know, so it was just, I couldn't really do anything. Couldn't train, couldn't run, couldn't do anything, you know. You see the fight, like the first round, your man hits me, and then I was like, oh jeez, I'm awake now. Like, he nearly knocked me out, like, with the shot southpaw. I was like, oh shit, better wake up here. So I couldn't. He was just moving around the ring. I couldn't move. I was standing in the middle of the ring, and I'm even calling him on. Like, so it's just like, it's one of them things, you know. I didn't really. Nobody likes losing, but it didn't really bother me if I lost. And once Pajo was winning and Paulie got the win, I didn't really care, you know. Yeah.
To me, it was just a bit of a holiday, but I was having a scrap at, you know, for it, you know. But that was sorry. Sure, like,
good holiday.
Yeah, it was. Like, like, I didn't make the weight. I couldn't even make the weight. Like, that was agreed. So I was like docked half the purse. Like, we're getting $2,000. Like, I got $1,000 for the fight. Like, care, like,
yeah, you should have went over like 20 kilo over so that you couldn't fight, and then you could have a free holiday. Like,
that's what it was. That's what it was like. It was like that. I was trying to kill myself to make the weight, and I just couldn't do it. It's just I'm getting old as well. I was 30, nearly 31 as well. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So
I've heard many stories like that. You know, you're paying for the fella's flight and all that, and then he gets over and he's nowhere near the weight. But doesn't even turn up for the weigh-in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had a
like that again. Like, that was another great night. Like, brilliant night it was.
Like, that'll never happen again. Like, three brothers having an Irish title in the same year. 8 fights, these are all on 8 cards at the same time. Like, you'll never
headlining in Atlantic City.
Like,
which was
we'd be lucky to have, you know, 2 brothers fighting on the same card.
I was driving down I think it's the New Jersey Parkway with my dad in the car. It was just me and my dad. You went to was you?
Yeah, it was you.
And I was flying down the road. Now I was driving pretty quick, like, and he shouts at me.
Slow down.
Fast. And he shouts at me, "Did you see that?" I'm like, frightened to shit. I'm trying to bleed driving a motorway here. What? See what? And he goes, "That big sign back there." I was like, "No, I didn't see it." And he goes, he's like that, and he's looking. He goes, "There's another one." So I went across 3 lanes, and pulled in a massive billboard with me and Snooki on it.
A cool picture.
A cool picture.
I was just about to ask you.
I mean, Dad's like, "What?" He's like that, getting pictures and his little flip up phone he had. I'm like,
there's a picture that you took of him, and he's just like,
he's
looking at it, like,
and he's like, get back in the car, and he's like, Jesus, we've made it now, lads, huh?
for the kids,
the Hoyland boys, we've made it.
For the kids of today, like, the Jersey Show was massive back then, and I'll admit now, I was a massive fan of the Jersey Show. I loved it, like. But it was a strange, because, like, how did Snooki must have seen boxing as an investment or something like that.
It was her father.
It was a big boxing club. Boxing
there was another guy then, Mike Pascal, and him and Andy were really close. And then Brian Burke, who was our good friend, he was talking about Mike Pascal, and they were talking about setting up a boxing promotion, final rounds promotion, and blah blah blah. And so Brian goes, "I have a guy, I know, he's, I have him." So he got on, and I said, I've no kids, I'm going to America. So they were like, I got, and so he was telling me then, and when we met out at the Hilton there, what's it called, down in Santry. He was at the airport, and he was like, "Did you ever hear of Snooki from the Jersey Show?" I was like, "Snooki?" Like, little Snooki from Jersey Show. "Oh, you've seen the show?" "What do you mean I've seen the show? Everyone watches that show, man." GLT. All this before, And I was like, yeah. And so that's her father, blah, blah, blah. That's the money. I was like, what? Yeah, so they sent me over a contract, a good contract. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Me and my wife now, Lorna, straight over. No bother. Loved it. And still friends with everyone over there. And I love the area, Marlborough, New York's where I'm going back to soon. And it just kicked off from there. And when that Atlantic City was like that again, it was just for us as well. It was mind blowing. Like all the press, we done 1 or 2 presses. He wasn't over yet. Me and Paulie, my dad, went down into New York City, and the cameras were like, blinding us. Like, they know now the cameras, like, because you were telling us, you're never going to see cameras like this. And we're like, yeah, whatever. And then, wow, we're like, red carpet shite. Like, but it was great. It was great.
They love all that though.
Yeah.
Paulie fella loved it. He loves that stuff.
And after that, then that's when you kind of started going to the world stage, and obviously you had that fight against Fortuna, and that was for WBA interim title. So at the time, Chris John from Singapore, he was a super champion.
Yeah.
Great record, 48-1. And then the same night you fought for the WBA interim, Nicholas Waters fought for the WBA regular in Jamaica. Which is mad. Think about it, like a regular interim on the same night. It's mad. Like,
funny one with that one as well. Like, again, I'm living in my apartment in Marlborough. I think Lorna was at home because at the time she didn't have a visa, so she was coming over, on the holiday visa, staying with me, and then flying back home for a few months, and then flying back over. So there was months there I was there on my own. But I remember, I think it was a Tuesday night fights. I think we were a few of my mates, we were all having a few cans in the apartment, and we were watching Fortuna for Orlando Cruz, former world champion, and sparked them in 2 rounds, and we were like, oh shit, And the boys like, he's in your way, man, he's gonna fuck you up. The Yanks, like, and I'm like, what? A week later, I get a phone call from Brian Peters, and he goes, we have a title fight for you. And I was like, what? Yeah. He goes, it's gonna be in Las Vegas. I said, stop messing now. Are you serious? He goes, no, dead serious, 100%. Las Vegas. I goes, right, Grant. He goes, do you want to know who you're fighting? And he goes, yeah, tell us. He goes, have you ever heard of Javi Fortuna? And I was like, did he not just fight 2 weeks ago or something? And he goes, he did. And then he blew him out in 2 rounds, like. And he goes, yeah, that's him. And I literally said, fuck it, let's have it. I want this. And he goes, do you want to know price, money? Or I was like, no. He goes, it's on the Manny Pacquiao Marquez card. I've made it. Go away with that. I don't care how much I'm getting. Like that. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, just send the contracts. I'll sign them. And that's how that went. Yeah. So it was a good experience. They gave me money as well for a training camp. So I brought in sparring partners. Now, coming up to that fight, I got my nose sour, the bone on the inside. I was sparring with a guy from Puerto Rico. He actually was shot there a while back. So we were moving around sparring in the southpaw, and he came up underneath and smashed me in the nose. And for a week I just thought, my nose was bad, and I thought it was kind of me hay fever again. But I didn't have hay fever when I was in America. It was weird. It was absolutely weird, and I couldn't breathe. And in training, and I was like, there's something wrong here. So we went to an eye, ears and nose guy, and he looked at it and he goes, oh yeah, no, that nose is gone. I was like, what? Now underneath here, the two inside was swollen across, so I couldn't even get air in. And he was looking at it. So we have to, American. He was like, we're gonna have to slit here and do this. I'm looking at him like, what?
We have a fight in
a fight in 3 weeks in Las Vegas, and he goes, oh, you won't be fighting. I said, I'm fucking fighting, like. And he's like, this operation. I was like, can you not just like put a syringe in and drain it? And he goes, oh, I could do that. Right, so we start. Me and my promoter at the time, Mike Pascal, is sitting there, and he starts taking out all these tools, and I'm looking at him like, looking at Mike, and Mike's looking at me, and I'm like, I said to him, where are they going? And he goes, oh, we're gonna have to push them up your nose. I was like, you ain't putting them up my nose. I'm not gonna lie, I could feel the steel up here.
Yeah.
He put up, he spread it across, and he stuck a syringe in. It was tears were rolling down my eyes, and you know what he had the cheek to say to me and says, I thought you were a boxer. I'm looking at him like, Mike is like, hey, come on now, this looks sore. And I'm like, so he said, come back to me a week before you fly, or a few days before you fly out. Now, it was starting to swell out again, and he rings me up, I'm like, oh no, that's fine, it's grand. I can breathe great, like, And then I think it was the 6th round, Fortuna caught me with a shot, right, and I was boom, gone. But what a fight, what an experience. It was just unbelievable.
You were unlucky with things like that. Like, I remember the press conference that your dad had for the WBF one. Like, you didn't have front teeth for that thing.
No,
I was like, why is Pajo lisping for this whole thing? And then I noticed that he didn't have the teeth, like, But when you look back at that, not saying you have regret or anything like that, but do you think like the fight was quite close and you made a really good account of yourselves? Would you have loved to get a rematch after it? And
I would have, 100%. I think we asked for it straight away, but it wasn't. I knew the fight. I don't regret anything. The only thing I do regret a little bit is like not throwing more punches, like. And it is what they say. Now, I was 27 now, and I think Fortuna was like 22, 24 now, and I was never like really on a big stage. Now, when people ask like like fighting, it does matter when you're on that stage. Like you do like. Get the nerves and everything else. Like it was massive. Like the weigh-in, standing there, come up onto the stage, and Mike Tyson standing there looking,
shaking your hand.
I'm like that looking at him, and Tracy and Mike used to train together, so they start yapping, and he comes over and he's messing with me, and I'm like, it's Mike Tyson, like. So I'm having a bit of laugh with him as well, and so then we're talking, and he called me over to get on the scales. I was again in fantastic shape, and got back and I was looking over, and Fortuna got on the scales, and he kept standing on his tippy toes, and I was shouting at Tracy, what's he doing, like? So then they tell us to meet up, so I'm standing there and that's all the crowd. I had a good few friends over, all up from Marlborough, and the boys over, and I'm standing there doing all this, and I'm like, you made it, like, I didn't care like what happened, like it was the biggest stage in the world, and next thing you know, he comes over and he gives me the death threat, like this, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no, not today, buddy. So he's like coming at me, and I kept going in like us, and we put head together, and I call him a puta, like, so he pushed me, call him a bitch, like. So we did, like, again, we had a head to head, and pushed Mike, says, you know, you can't be doing that. And I go, so you're doing that, saying you eat kids and all, like, and he goes, hey man, that was the past. I'm a different guy now. And he's like, he hits me and slapping. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I had a great laugh from him. And then about a couple of months later, like, he out of nowhere, he followed me on Twitter, like, so I'm sitting there, like, get a notification, Mike Tyson following me, some fella, Mike Tyson, fake, whatever. Said to Lauren, Mike Tyson's after following me. And she's like, what? He said, look, Mike Tyson, like, he's 400 followers, I'm one of them. He's like a couple of million. I was like, well, look at Mike Tyson. He's like, oh, do you calm down? I'm like, do you understand? Like, me as a boxer, that's Mike Tyson. Like, it's just, I was like, wow. And we were in my 20s.
Probably waiting for you to see if a press conference you did that again, so we could retweet and go, yeah, I told this guy to stop doing this.
It was and he still follows me today. But another one was, I went 27 and all, and you know, a lot of people back home are saying keep carrying the flag. And Nicky Bourne tweeted me. We're up in Rochester, and my wife, everyone in the pub. Nicky Bourne sent the tweet out. You know, like, you know, you hear the big roar. Oh my God! I'm like, what's wrong with you? Nicky Bourne just tweeted you. I was like, from Westleaf? And she's like, yeah. So I was like, alright, cool. But she was like, all over him and Paul McGrath were like tweeting. I was like, yeah, it's grand. You know, I'm kind of a bit of a deal now. I'm 27 and 0. You know, so kind of a record. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, Lorna, I'm gonna have a point now, right?
Yeah.
I was like, in my back of my mind, the biggest Westlife fan in the world. I was like, don't say I start going, in my head and all.
Yeah.
Nicky, I'll put you. Yeah, it was good times, like, good times.
So after that, then you were rebuilding then as well to another like big fight, whatever it was going to be.
So
I know there was
fell out with the promotional company, and what happened there was there was you know, there was just stuff happened over the contracts and, you know, monies, and we fell out, and they held me out for like 18 months. Yeah. So I was out of the ring for 18 months. I kept training. I was helping Stephen Ormond, sparring with Steve all the time, and watching him winning, and it was a kick in the teeth, like, you know, like.
It's not unheard of though in the States. Like, I've heard many stories about it. Like,
I was like just sitting back
Mikey
watching
Garcia
everyone.
is a great one as well.
And they're just, I think it's called the Muhammad Ali Act. They tried to put on me or something, and I was like, because it was what it was, and then I got out of it. We had a mutual agreement, and we parted ways, and it was grand. And then Lou DeBella signed me up, and Lou, what a man! He's absolutely a character. He's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet, and he really good for me. Done really good for me. And then I got a fight back. My first fight back was in BB King's.
No, the one you got one after the one after that was it not the stadium? No.
That was the
yeah, so it was, yeah.
Back asleep, yeah. No, it was in BB King's, okay? And you know, then I think your man Martin, who won the world title by default, and Joshua fought. He was on the undercard and all.
Charles Martin.
Yeah, Charles Martin. But Triple G was in the crowd and everyone, and I went out there, and my dad and Tracy were there, and I felt like a novice in the first round. I felt so bad, and I came back down. I sat down, and I could just see the two of them looking at me, and I goes, am I as bad as I see him out there? And he goes, the both of them straight away looked at each other, laughing. He goes, you're absolutely terrible. And I'm like, ugh. So I was sitting there. We had a bit of a laugh in the corner. Like, I'm boxing brutal. I'm in return only to sign him with Lou DeBella. He's looking over at me as well. What are you doing? This southpaw, and I kept getting my feet wrong. I kept getting caught with shots, and I'm like, what's going on here? So the second round was kind of a little bit better than the third round. My dad just goes, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I don't know. He goes, do you know your man Triple G is sitting there? And I was like, your man Triple G is sitting there. And I'm like, oh, all right. So I just went out and I started lumping in. I had hands down, getting caught. I just kept at him. And I ended up stopping him in the fourth round. And it was like, you could see me at the end of it. I'm like, yes. But it felt, it was like, whew, that was a good baddie, you know. And then we got a fight then in the Tree Arena.
Yeah, you were supposed to fight Simpson, weren't you?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight John Simpson. John Simpson pulled out, and I fought Oscar. Anyways, the guy, he came in a bit heavier as well. But I was meant to, that was the time, I think that was 2014. Yeah. Josh Warrington was the European champion, and Eddie Hearn was saying if the winner of Simpson and me Hoyland would have got the shot at Josh Warrington. And then again, you fast forward 4 years later, I get the shot at Josh Warren, and after I get, you know, that as you're saying, the big world title fight against Gary Russell, well, the father died, then the Russell fight.
There's stuff going on in your life.
Yeah. Your dad, it's one thing, I know you've been interviewed a few times, and not necessarily just particularly on how your dad died, but just like how have you been handling camp since your dad isn't around, but no one's really kind of spoken to you about it. Your dad, if I'm right in saying, am I right in saying that you knew he was having issues with his mental health before he passed away? Is that right? Or he was kind of having any issues at all?
I have no idea.
Just so I thought I read that somewhere when I was researching, but no. But your dad was very much a giver.
I give out that, give everything.
Yeah, give it to everyone, like, and I suppose that can.
I think that the hardest part for us all was as much as he was hard on us growing up and hard on even married men and with kids, and he was still hard on us, but he was a family man, you know. So it was like.
Well, your career obviously shows that.
Yeah, but like it's I suppose like if he did have his demons, he wouldn't.
He'd keep him to his chest like that. That's why we tell everyone not to, you know. Like
he'd have that, you know, macho man persona
I can't
about
be telling
him.
people. I can't be
If we tell you my feelings, I'm weak, that type of attitude, you kind of, and I suppose it was the way he was brought up too, like, you know. And I suppose in a way we all had that too until he died, you know, and then like as like you see,
it opened their eyes to you know, mental health and like your feelings and everything. It opened their eyes big time. Like, again, we're, as Eddie's saying, a strong man. This fella, the life and soul of a party. He was, you know, charismatic. He was everything. He was a great dad, and
like
just out of nowhere. You know,
when our Auntie Marie died, that hit him hard, you know, and like we knew it hit him hard, you know, that way, and he kind of spoke a little bit about it, but not much, you know. Like that he missed her. They were like best mates. They were, like, you know, and they'd hate each other as well, you know, that type of way. But
of course, yeah.
When she died, it killed a lot of the family, but mainly my dad, really, you know. But not saying that it didn't hurt his other two brothers or his other 7 sisters he has, like, you know, or his mum and dad at the time. But it was just.
And it brings to the forefront your own mortality.
Yeah.
Probably what he experienced when your auntie died, realising his own mortality maybe at that time. Yeah. And that's something I think we all have to confront them as we get older, you know.
Yeah.
More people pass when you realise that you're not going to live forever, you know.
Still boxing at the time as well. Yeah. And
were you close to retiring because of it?
Sorry?
Were you close to retiring?
I was. I thought, you know,
you weren't going to go back.
I wasn't going to go back boxing. I was saying, like, how can I, you know, fight without him there? Like, he's been in the corner of every fight, or been in the arena or somewhere, you know. I only literally boxed because he wanted me boxing. I wanted to play football, and, you know, again, that's how he was when we were kids. It was hard on us, and, you know, we said, you're not playing that, you know, Nancy football stuff. Go up there and do the boxing, because that was the family thing. And I didn't want to go back, but something drove me as well, because, you know, a week later my son was born after my dad died, and I just said, you know, like, you gotta keep going. I want to win a world title, or, you know, do the best that I can to try win a world title for my son now, you know, like, as well for my dad. But I kept going, and I said, you know, and then I left my son and I went for a 3-week training camp over in New York as well with Tracy. And absolutely fantastic training camp. When I fought David Martinez, my last ever win. I had a fantastic training camp. Didn't really think of my dad, didn't think of Aunt. It was sort of been just like normal training over in America, you know, trucking away. Now I miss my son terribly. He was only born, and my wife, but it was the first round. I had a first round, like, boxed the ears off David, and I was like moving around, like, sat down, and Tracy gets in talking, and, you know, my dad was always to the left taking my gum sheet out, and I went like that, and I forgot, and I go to Tracy, where's my dad? And Tracy kind of looks at me and was like, what? Like, oh, and he just don't mind that. He's gone. He'll be back and something like that. You know, he said to me, and I was saying, oh, all right. So I was moving it around. Then the second round, then it kicked in. The realization kicked into me, and it was even after the fight. David said to me, "He's like, you know, I know you're hurting, so I thought we would have got you." Like he said, there's no disrespect, like in that way. You know, you're mentally and emotionally weren't there. I thought we would have beat you, like because of it. But I did. I landed the best shot in my life. Like, but the last round as well, I thought I was losing the fight. I got cut. I was just standing there taking shots. Didn't really care. And then Tracy, you know, I love the man. He's like a second father. He gave me a smack and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like what my dad would have said, and goes, "Get out there and show your dad why you're the best." And you know, and your newborn son. I went out there and sparked David. Boom. I was looking, I was like, "That, oh, he got that on TV. It was the best punch I ever threw in my life." But I didn't. I was looking at him lying down. I was standing in the corner, and just all the emotions came over me, and just started crying in the corner. And they're like, "What?" So I went over, and the doctors know, so I just kind of sit down with him. And I sat down, and I just kept crying, and I asked him, was he okay? And he looked at me, and he goes, "What? Oh, you fucker, you got me, didn't you?" And I goes, "Yeah, and I'm sorry." And he's like, put his arm around me and goes, "Your dad would be so proud of you." And I just bawling, crying, and then the picture I was taken, you know, went all over Twitter, you know, gentleman sport boxing. And then I was like, after that, I said to Lou DiBella, I said, "I need something big to go again. I need something big." And he goes, "Leave it with me." And he got me the Gary Russell fight, and I was like, yeah. Let's have it.
And you were already in talks about the Josh Warrington fight, but it was always going to be there, wasn't it? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was the Russell fight came first, and then the Warrington came, and then Brian Peters rang me and he says, "We have Josh Warrington," and I goes, "What's it for?" And he goes, the international, WBC international. And I goes, "What are they paying?" He said, so he told me, you know, I'm not going to say how much it was or anything, but I was like,
never does.
I was like, oh, World
not like in the US when you disclose the versus.
I said, WBC international, WBC live on Showtime in America, bigger money. I think I'll take that one. You know, if I win that, then I'll give Josh a shot. Like, so then again, what happened? Mr. Russell up there, and still have nightmares of him. Nah, he's a good lad now. I've messaged him a lot. You know, he wants to have a beer with me again next time I'm in the States, and he caught me perfect. Like again, I was in great shape. I wanted to win. Like I went out there to win. Straight away, you could see in the first round, I went straight at him. They had no fear. But yeah, speed kills, man. He caught me perfect. Now I didn't.
Couldn't
some stories of that one after that fight as well. Like the doctor asked me, he goes, you know what state you're in? I said, yeah, I'm in an awful state. He kept laughing at me. I'm like, man, I don't know where I am, but come on, give us a break here. And then I got the warrant.
You were down 3 times in round 2.
But
you kept getting
up. Now the referee goes well to me. He goes just after the second knockdown, and he's looking at me and he goes, "You better show me something." And then when he's over me, he goes, "No." I goes, "I showed you something." How to lie down. And he started laughing at me. I didn't know where I was. Like it was just, you know, it was one of them things. But again, I stepped up and none of them would. Yeah. You know, when
that coach, I remember telling me something similar when you got knocked out by Mark McCullough. I'll put that part out, but when he got knocked out by Mark McCullough, and he said the referee was counting in front of him. I remember seeing it because I was looking at him, and he was like this, nodding at the referee like that. He thought he was standing up. He was counting. He's lying down like that. And then he realised.
You could see, like even in the videos, like of me, I'm like walking back and going, "You okay?" And it's just natural in you. And it was a thing as well. Like I never, you know, got hurt before in the ring, so I didn't know to grab. Like everyone was shouting at me, "Grab!" I'm like, I'm not grabbing anyone. Like I've never go out on your shield, man. I try to start swinging, he started clapping me. I was like, "Whoa, that guy is fast." I was lying down. I was like, "Whew, thank God that's over." The ambulance ride and all. The wife, it was fun. It was good memories, like, you know what I mean. So that'll live with me forever. Like, you know, I can tell my kids, and even though I didn't win the world title, like, even though I didn't go 12 rounds, still stepped in and had to.
But I think that's a bit of a part of it, is because when I interview like a lot of young fellas around the country who are turning pro, and look, everyone wants to be a world champion someday, and history and mathematics will tell you that not a lot of people will even challenge for. And so yeah, we're going to be a world, and they'll say it. But it seems very much that you've turned over with not necessarily like the ambition of going, I'm going to definitely be world champions. Like I'm going to give it everything that I have, and then wherever I fall there. And that was kind of the beautiful thing about it. Like each opportunity you were given, you were kind of like, really me, like you know. Whereas maybe the culture has changed now, where it's kind of like, I deserve this. So, you know, like a world title is owed to them, or any belt's owed to them.
I don't agree with that.
Like I think as well, like we kind of
work your arse off for it.
We kind of opened the doors as well for a lot of people to get where they are now, like through the sacrifices we had to do as pros. Like we've made history in the pro books. Like 3 brothers to have the Irish title, like, you know, 2 brothers with an IBF title. You know, it's just, I think, my dad, he made it as a coach as well, like, you know, having to coach 3 brothers to have titles. I don't think it'll be done again in the next couple of years anyhow.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.